welcome. This is Conversations here on NTA Network. My name is Nike, and as you know, Conversations is a program that talks about everything that affects you and me. Our topic today is very special. We have some very interesting people in the house who are going to give us their perspectives on the topic. And what we're talking about today is sickle cell disorder. Before we get into why we're talking about it and all the things that arise concerning sickle cell in Nigeria, let's meet our guests.
My name is Hawa Sani, and I'm a lady living with sickle cell disorder, and I'm also a co-founder of Strong Cell Foundation.
Hello, I'm Ando Ogar, SCD patient, and a co-founder of Strong Cell Foundation. Thank you.
My name is Rabi Medunama. I'm also a warrior. I'm the founder of Medunama Sickle Cell Foundation. Thank you.
Welcome. The name is Rita Abuja, and of course, we are in the conversations.
Okay, ladies, thank you for joining us. We're going to be talking about the disorder itself, what it means to have sickle cell. A lot of people always say sickle cell and having a crisis. I'm hoping that you break it down to some of us that don't really understand what it's all about. But before we do that, we'll take a quick break in the conversation room. Stay with us.
Among the Yorubas, southwest Nigeria, reincarnation is akin to the Abiko concept of being born again or coming back to life after death. It is a religious belief devoid of scientific knowledge or fact. However, there are claims that marks made on the body of such children before burial are found on them after rebirth.
There are some people they used to call Malomo, and such people, they will say, when they come to life and they die, they put marks on some people so they'll be able to recognize them when they come back. So those are the little things I had growing up about Abiko. They don't know what caused it, but they know the child died. And it might be anything. It might range from jaundice to any form of illness that is killing the child as at that time. But I think as at that time, they don't really know what caused it, but the child died.
According to the belief of the Yorubas, they believe that the Abikus are a set of children that are demonic, whereas in the true sense of it, most of the Abikus are caused by the parents. One, either by genetic beginning or by lack of care, parental care. These children always die, and we call them Abiku.
In recent times, mortality ratios in all ages and situations have reduced drastically due to availability of modern medical facilities and scientific methods. Such phenomenon as Abiko is gradually being eradicated. Nevertheless, certain diseases such as diphtheria, measles, whooping cough and poliomyelitis, to mention but a few, are childhood killer diseases. Sickle cell anemia is another biological condition that terminates life in children and young adults when not properly managed. Unlike the 7 childhood killer diseases for which medical science had found solution through vaccines, sickle cell anemia remains a challenge in the world of medical research. To eradicate the incidence of people with sickle cell anemia in the society, marriages between people of same AS genotype are discouraged.
Our major concern is, as much as possible, even though it's beyond our own handling, to prevent the disorder completely. The best we can do, we have some states legalizing the issue of AS not marrying themselves. sometimes you may not be able to handle that because emotion and love comes into play. But where we can, avoid it, let us avoid it. Where we cannot, let us take informed decision. Informed decision means that I know my genotype, I am AS. You are also AS or you are SC, and I want to get married to another person with the traits, and I am sure that when we come together, we may, is a probability. It's only God that tells us the final verdict, whether it's going to be SS, because it's just a probability of 1 in 4 that is going to be SS. But that 1 in 4 is only God that can determine it. And you see, it is for every pregnancy. Many people just feel that, okay, once you get married, out of 4 pregnancy, only 1 will just be SS and will be okay. Unfortunately, you could be very lucky and all of them will be SS. And there's nothing anybody can do. It's only God that takes that final decision.
The concept of abiko and reincarnation are phenomena of ancient times that remain a mystery yet to be unraveled in modern world. Will the clash among myth, science and reality ever end?
It's Conversations here on NTA Network. We're talking about sickle cell disorder and how it affects you and me. You might know someone living with the condition, or you might be someone living with the condition yourself. There might be something in the program today that you'll learn new. So let me start with Hawa. Can you tell us exactly what a sickle cell disorder is?
Okay. Sickle cell disorder is basically a genetic, an inherited disease.
Okay.
And I say inherited in the sense that it's genetic and you get a gene from both parents. That is, perhaps the parents are both AS, and then there are different variations of it. There's the SC and then there's the SS. So perhaps both parents are AS. For my case, because I'm SS, both parents were AS, and of course they passed the SS gene to me, and so that is how you get it. And it plays in different, it comes out in different ways because you have different, someone living with sickle cell disease is just like any other normal person. Okay. Just the difference is that you could have complications and things called crises. There are different kinds of crises. There's the vaso-occlusive, which is the very common one, the VOC crisis, in which you have bone pains. It's something that could start suddenly at any time and anywhere, and it could be precipitated by different things. It could be triggered by different things such as extreme cold, extreme heat, perhaps stress, infections, malaria, and things like that. So it's not really, it's a lifelong disease, except you get interventions like the stem cells and the bone marrows, which are new interventions. It's something you have to manage and
live a meaningful life even with this.
Yes, it's something that comes up occasionally, like you have a crisis or you have a complication, like the ulcer, the AVNs, the people, that's the avascular necrosis. A lot of sicklers have that, sickle cell patients have that. And it's not a very funny disorder to live with, but somehow you could be able to manage it and live a successful and happy life with it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Maybe you want to add to something that she said, Ando?
Not really, but STD is a non-communicable disease.
Okay.
Yeah, you can't just get it.
Yeah.
It's genetic, like she said. It must be inherited from both parents. You get the S from here, you get the S from here, your SS.
Okay.
So, but you can live a normal life with it.
Okay.
There are people that are SS, but because their fetal hemoglobin is high, that's hemoglobin F, they may never come down with a crisis.
Okay.
They live a normal life until they die. So it's something, I don't know.
Or the frequency of the crisis could
Be reduced.
Okay.
Yes, kind of.
Does
So
nutrition play a factor when living with sickle cell disorder? Are you encouraged to eat something more? Is there anything that you can eat or ingest that will lower the possibility of having a crisis?
Well, yes. There are diets that are rich in, like vegetables, right? a vegetable like ugu that can increase your blood level.
Okay.
You know, sickle cell affects the red blood cells. Instead of it being very round and nicely shaped, it's now like a half moon, a sickle, just like the name, you know, the farm instrument. So what it does is that since it's broken into half now, then it doesn't flow properly.
Okay.
Especially when you're having a crisis. And of course, it doesn't carry enough oxygen like the normal cells. So increase in production of the blood or the red blood cells can increase your blood level and the flow of blood, and then it can actually reduce you being anemic. It will stop you from being anemic, right? And that will also give you a proper, blood level that you can manage with. And then our red blood cells actually breaks down in just few days. For a normal person, it's like 120 days you change your cells.
Okay.
For a sickle cell patient, 20, 30 days, there's a breakdown, hemolysis, and then you understand. So foods that actually increase your blood level or supplements can actually go a long way. And then, of course, some people believe in the protein-based diet, increasing your protein-based diet.
Okay.
So that actually helps also, in keeping you, giving you this, health boost and all that.
Okay.
Yeah, but of course you need all your balanced diet. You need the carbohydrates, and everything has to be well balanced. And then you have to avoid food that has too much iron to avoid an iron overload in your system. So that yes.
Because people are
and then-
encouraged to eat food that have iron.
Yes,
so
some, yes.
it's
And
the
then
opposite.
now, and then fruits, of course. Fruits goes well with everybody.
Yes.
Except if you have ulcer and all that, which is very acidic. But when you have a balance of all this, it makes, it give you. But then, of course, there are people that believe that we shouldn't eat processed food too much again. Indomie and all those things. So anything natural and all goes well with us that time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, this past weekend, there was at an event that was organized by the Jephthah Ohiomo High Sickle Cell Foundation. And it was pretty much talking to students because they lost a son who was a warrior.
Okay.
And the main objective and focus they had was how to have a future without sickle cell. Now that's a possibility because if people take the right decision now, hashtag know your type. What's your type?
Know your genotype.
Exactly. What's your type? If we can ask that question early enough, there is a possibility. What I preach is the minute you know you like someone, before that like begets love, know what that person's genotype is. That means you should also know your own. We have adults moving around and they don't know their genotype. Really.
Yes.
That's true.
Sadly, we still have that
Yes,
situation.
it's true.
So the
A
first
lot.
point is people need to get to know their genotypes and be interested in knowing the genotype of people they may like. Because first you like somebody and before you know what is happening, the LOVE comes in.
Yeah.
And I have had a friend, very close friend, who close to getting married had to break up because of AS factor. Of course, that's a big sacrifice to make because they had to think, what will happen if we have kids? You really need to be with a child that is going through crisis for you to know that you don't want to put anybody through that as a parent.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's not easy for the parent either. I mean, it's a lose-lose situation. So I like that when you introduce yourself, you all mention this or that foundation, meaning you're doing something. How much of awareness in terms of preventive action are you involved? Anybody can go. Yeah, because at the end of the day, if we know, I mean, I'm AS, you're AS, that shall not love. It doesn't mean we hate, but please, brother.
Move it along.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You said it, know your genotype. And I think all these foundations are preaching the same thing. I think we're looking at a time when it will come to, my name is Ando Oga, I'm SS. Something like that. From the very beginning, I'm introducing myself to a guy, and I'm telling him, my name is Ando Oga, and I'm SS. So if he is AA, or AS, he should just have it in his head that, oh, she's SS. I can't do anything with her. So I think we're looking at that, the awareness.
Yeah.
We want to like go into massive awareness. Secondary school, catch them young. You know, even from nursery school. If your boy that is 11 years old knows his genotype right now, that he's AS,
They do,
and he
trust
knows
me.
the implication, of course, growing up, it sticks. He
Yeah.
knows that I'm AS. I can't have anything to do with an AS girl. So he has that. He's conscious of that. So he's not going to fall in love with an AS girl. If he meets a girl in future, please, what's your genotype? That's the first thing he's going to ask that girl. So we want to preach it, carry it as far as we can, catch them young, start from the very basis. Do your genotype test. If we can, see how we can actually get the government into this, get doctors, get equipment, go to schools, run genotype tests from nursery school, secondary school, give them their results, go to your parents, go and keep these results and put it in your head.
Okay.
So I think all these NGOs, but she will say more, she will say more.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hawa?
I think Rabi is very, very, she has done quite a lot on that, on know your genotype, genotype testings and that, and that's quite impressive. And the reason why I got into this is because I felt, apart from the management of sickle cell patients, because there are a lot of them that are poor, that
Poorly
cannot
managed.
afford, and then you don't have access to health insurance. Because I personally have that experience. You come there and they tell you, oh, you have a pre-existing condition and they don't want to manage you. That is a big problem, and that is what...
Stigmatization,
Yes, stigmatization is a big problem. Even the workplace, socially, and things like that. But for this awareness that we're talking about presently, which is the topic where we are now, awareness is very key. Yes, from secondary school, nursery school, that she said, it's best to know. And then we have situations whereby you have to run those tests repeatedly because you have issues of labs making mistakes, laboratories making mistakes and things like that. So you see, you have to do it like once, twice, thrice before you now confirm, oh, this is the certain one because this is the most consistent result that has come out.
Wow.
And then make sure you go to standard labs to get these results out. There was this, Sickle Cell Awareness World Day was on the June 19th, and there were a lot of activities centered around sickle cell disorder. There was this trend, this Twitter, this thing that was trending at that time. I've forgotten the name of the handle, but the guy said, instead of asking what kind of car the guy drives or where does he work, what you should be saying is, what is your genotype?
That's it.
That should be the first date question. And I think that should go a long way to stick in the minds of people.
Is there are there any no-nos for people living with sickle cell disorder? Are you encouraged to take part in sports, for instance? I'm talking because, there are lots of teenagers out there, teenagers even watching the program, I don't know what your growing up was like for you, but were there certain things that you were told, you can't really do this, you should do more of this?
Yes, for me personally, I was restricted from a lot of physical activities.
Okay.
Yes, because I know a lot of stress could trigger a crisis for me. So my school, my teachers, my principals had to know that, oh, she's SS, so she should not exert a lot of energy.
Okay.
So that was there for me. But I still see, like she mentioned in the beginning, people with high fetal hemoglobin, and then we all differ. Then some fall to a lot of crises and then sickle cell complications, while others do not. So there are some SS patients or SC that do sports. That's a pro footballer, a pro soccer that is SC. Yes, there are people like that. So it really varies. You have to know what works for you and understand your body early enough so that you know the limits. Because a lot of running, we have complications like AVN and all that. When you have those kind of things, you can't do physical activities that involve a lot of running and jumping and things like that because it will hurt your hip bone.
Do you think we have...
Okay. For me, my complications have always been the bone, right? Lots of infections and all that.
Okay.
So as she said, it varies from one patient to the other.
Yeah.
But generally, let's say about 80% of those, you are not supposed to Not that you can't, you're not
Okay.
supposed to.
Okay.
Because of course
don't
you
stress
have the
yourself.
oxygen level to put into consideration at first, and of course it can, as long as blood is flowing in your body, there's going to be attack in any part of your body at any time.
Okay.
So to avoid, going into a crisis, you should limit yourself, or even not. You don't have to, but if you can, you can. I know lots of swimmers, a lot of athletes that do, dancers and all that,
Okay.
that are, that are warriors. But then you should try and limit yourself too, because the vigorous activities really don't help you in any way.
Okay.
It will increase. And actually, adding to that, I just want to add a bit about the awareness thing.
Okay.
Everybody, I believe that in this country, most people, most babies have like blood group breathing. Immediately they're, why can't we have genotype? Immediately.
Yes.
Do you understand? At
Yeah.
birth, So that is the first step I think a policy should go into. If you know your blood group, you should know your genotype. Why are we keeping genotype aside? So this is where the government should come in. Immediately a child is born, you have a blood group rating. I think as early as that. Or if you go for your vaccine, if you say you cannot detect it at that time, 6 months, 8 months, as you're taking your
at least,
vaccinations,
taking your
they are
vaccine.
doing that kind of
Okay.
test.
Very important.
That is the first step. So you will avoid all this growing up and getting into issues. Now, concerning the advocacy, as Awa mentioned, yes, we have gone a long way. Because even for World Sickle Cell Day, we visited lots of schools around the country. We're catching them young. We don't even want to wait for
That's
universities.
wonderful.
In the past, we have done universities, higher institutions, and all that. So right now, we are already in the secondary schools, and we're trying that as, we get more support, we'll be able to do that. But there's a problem to that. Unfortunately, parents did not even allow some of the words go through the genotype test. We
They don't
had
want
to
their
wait
blood
for
drawn.
permissions. We had to write and keep writing, and it was very unfortunate. For HIV and hepatitis, I believe organizations can actually just go into schools. And for the safety of other patients, the school around allows them to go through cancer tests, HIV tests.
But they still
to
take the
avoid,
parents' permission.
Yes, I know, but to avoid getting other students getting
Yes,
infected.
yes.
But for genotype, they never take it serious. Since it's not contagious, and it has more stigma, to be honest with you, than all these things I'm mentioning. They can't even, some of them could not even bring out themselves. There were lots of warriors in some of the schools we went to. They couldn't come out. They were afraid of the
What people will say.
media, they were afraid of the teachers, they were afraid of parents, what the people were. There's everything. One told me that she's healed by faith already, so she doesn't want to show her face, which is fine. I love her faith and all that. But she then went ahead to say that even as a warrior, she can never marry, if she was not one, she can never marry one. She can't marry a man that after 1 year he will die. So I'm like, are you dead? The secondary school learner, somebody whose parents have already put it in her that she's been healed already. So they didn't even tell the school authority that this is the condition she has. What if something happens to her along the way? What if she wakes up one day? You can have stroke. You can have so many things. If you don't accept your problem, there's going to be a lot of challenges ahead. So these are the issues we face. This discrimination starts from home.
Yes.
And it's very unfortunate. Before it gets to school, before it gets to your peer groups, it starts from the parents.
And to workplace as well, right?
Yes,
workplace.
workplace.
This
It's
is
higher-
a
it's even
graduation.
higher in
It
workplace.
starts from the parents. If
Yeah.
the parents cannot tell you that this is what your genotype is, this is who you should marry, or this is your SS, don't do this when you go to school. Don't do. If
implications.
a parent will not tell you or report to the school authority that my child has, you report migraine, you report typhoid, you report every other thing. But sickle cell is still lagging behind. It's
Rabbi,
very
could you talk
unfortunate.
to us a little bit about some of your experiences going into the rural areas and the parents? How do you convince them that it's important to have this genotype testing done. It's important to know the genotype of their children. I can imagine you've had quite a number of challenges trying to convince them.
a lot.
Because there are myths, surrounding these things that people see differently. There's your Banje issue,
Ogbanje,
there is
Abiku,
the
witchcraft.
Abiku,
Our own is
witchcraft.
Aljanu. From the north, they call it Aljanu and
Okay.
all that. First time there was this experience, I cried because we went to a rural area in Plateau State, and the child was tied to with a lot of bamboos on her leg and all that, and she was just left to one side. She was barely 2 years old, and then her feet were all swollen, and then I don't know how many days she spent there or how long she's been crying, and she was like, she fell down and maybe she has a fracture. That's why they're trying to fix the leg.
The bone, yeah.
And she was just having a crisis, early stage of hand and leg syndrome. So it was really a tearful situation. And they've left her in pains for days. This is something ibuprofen and all that can just give her this soothing relief, for the next few days that the crisis would be. And I had to tell them, just untie this girl. Just untie her and, let's just take her to the hospital and give her proper treatment. And that's what happened. So there's so many pathetic situations we have seen. I'm even talking about educated people now, we have met in schools and all that.
Yes.
Talk more of people that don't even understand that it's a medical condition. So it's terrible what we see in a community had like 236 patients.
Yeah, wow.
Who half of them have never been to a clinic or hospital. I don't understand sickle cell is just a time bomb, in this country. It's very, very unfortunate. And I just hope that this advocacy we're all doing can actually we reach them in the community, because you go to city clinics and they tell you that, we have data. No need, we have data in this. When half of those patients don't even go to the hospital at all. So that's why we reach them at their doorsteps. That's the whole idea of the community outreach. You reach them to there, and then you see them coming out in numbers, because help has come. Because nobody is asking them, come and register, buy a card for hospital and all that. So they come out and they listen to you.
Yeah.
So that's the whole idea. Half of the patients of sickle cell are not in the hospital.
You have mentioned advocacy severally, and I like the sound of that. Is it possible this advocacy at the government end, there can be a situation where sickle cell patients can get free treatment? Is that a possibility? Have you thought of
That's
pushing
part of
for
the
that?
policy. That's part of the policy. Like the insurance she mentioned about. You can walk out if you're not giving us some of the drugs
I'm talking
free.
a situation where if someone had a crisis and you go to the hospital, they
should
know
be
we have to
attended.
attend to this person, not asking questions about
No,
where
no,
is your
no.
card, where is your money, where is
That's
your
where the
this?
government policy comes in. That's where it comes in. You cannot do this. We can't do this alone.
can't
The
do
government
this.
cannot do this alone. Individuals cannot do this alone. There has to be a synergy. They understand our problem, and they can do something. Even if it's folic acid. Folic acid is 1 naira a tablet. You give folic acid for free. You can't imagine how this is going to turn out.
It's a good
Ando, you
point.
wanted to say something?
Yeah, I just want to say, like, what she was saying. She was stressing on understanding what SS is. That's the stress now. It's not about the awareness.
Yeah.
But do you understand what this disease is all about? A lot of persons don't. They don't know. They don't understand it. They just look at, okay, SS, okay, they will die. And she will soon die. He will soon die. So let's not care about this child. But that's not it. That's not it. So let's not preach only awareness. Let's look for a situation whereby people will really get to understand that SS, being SS, is not, how will I put it, it's not a death warrant, or how will I put it? You're as normal as every other child. The difference is that your cells are sickled, or your red blood cells are sickled. While the person that is AA, the red blood cells is O-shape.
Yes.
That's the difference. But then we can still do things like an AA person. We live a normal life like an AA person. We get married, we have children, she's got kids, she's married. So we shouldn't look at it that they will soon die, they are fragile, they can't do some certain things, they are abiku, it's witchcraft from my father's place, from my mother's place. No, that should be the stress. Understanding what sickle cell and how to handle it.
Okay. I have a question for all three of you.
Okay.
If I see someone having a crisis, what should I do? How can I help?
First of all, you're alone with the person now. Let's picture that scenario.
Yes.
How severe is the crisis? Do you have your medications with you? What do you do normally when you're in crisis? First of all, start drinking water.
Okay.
Drink a lot of, stay rehydrated. How severe it is? If it's very bad and you don't have any analgesics, let's head to the hospital if possible, or let's head to the nearest health center. You should do that.
Okay.
But there are some that are manageable at home. Yeah. That is why I said the severity. Because I've had crises that I'm like, please let me just stay at home and drink water and take painkillers, and after some days I'm fine and I go out. But there are some that
if you master your body.
You master your body.
You're well
You have to
experienced.
understand your body. So you have to ask the person, is this person a child or an adult? Is it?
It was just
Is
a
he
hypothetical.
Hypothetical.
Yeah.
An adult.
Can you
Yeah,
talk?
adult.
Are
Can
you
you
conscious
talk?
and all that?
Do you understand your body?
Okay.
How have you been managing it?
And then even at the hospital, when you get to the hospital, I always tell the doctors and nurses, you want to get something out of a warrior, deal with the pain first.
Yes.
Okay.
The person comes in with pain.
Yes.
Forget about running a test. Forget about attack the pain and then make the person sane enough to even communicate with you.
Okay.
When there is pain, you are getting nothing out of that
person.
patient.
Okay.
That's it.
I cannot come in crisis and you're asking me to fill a form to write my name. Do you have malaria? When was the last time you treated my... No. Immediately you attack my pain. Get me a fluid running in my vein. Sort out the pain. Then you can start running your tests.
Yeah.
Run whatever tests you want to run. Malaria, whatever. Communicate with me. But when I'm in pain, you're not getting anything out of me. And how does this treatment start when somebody cannot even communicate with you? That is one thing the health workers, the doctors and the nurses need to understand. But because we don't have
you have to attack that pain.
experts, I'm sorry to say, in sickle cell, we GPs attend to us, general practitioners.
Yes.
Some of them don't really understand the intensity of this. They're dealing with us from what they're reading from books.
Okay.
And they don't understand. And some even think we're drug addicts, we're this, we're that. So there's no communication, proper relationship between us and the doctors. You walk in and a nurse will tag you, you're a drug addict already because you want something to suit your pain. When was the
Really?
last time you saw me in your hospital?
Why? Because of the shaking?
Yes, because you want. Yeah,
Do
because
you know how
want.
bad that pain
yes,
is?
that pain is. I just want something to suit my pain, and this I'm not talking about Panadol or
talking
a
about
syrup. I'm
opiums.
talking about an injection that will bring me back to reality.
Okay.
I'm not there with you. I just need you to help me with this pain. So when there's no proper communication between us and those kind of people, this is what we're facing. This is one of the challenges.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's not about rushing me to the hospital. In the hospital, I also have a challenge waiting for me.
Exactly, to kill the
If
pain.
you ask me now, I can't remember the last time I've been to the hospital because I rather just sit down at home and I give myself the first aid because I'm not getting the proper treatment in the hospital. And this is sad.
What this is just saying to us is that there is need for a whole lot of reorientation
Orientation.
and
Understanding
training,
From parents
even
to
for
the
those in the
caregivers.
health
The
sector.
caregivers and the health sector.
Even for those in the
Really.
health sector.
Yes.
Yes, I've been in a situation where I was in so much pain. And I walked into the hospital. And I said, look, I'm talking to you as a nurse. I know what's wrong with me. I need painkiller, pentazocine.
And I know
and
what
she
I
looked
want.
at me. I was like, you're an addict. I was like, how? I'm not an addict. I'm in pain. Do you get? So we have those situations. They don't understand.
I swear to you, if you bring
don't.
this painkiller for any of us now that we are sane, and I will not take pen
No,
why
why
would we
anything
want to
else.
take
Why would
it?
we take it?
We can't allow people who are drug addicts on the street. Now you cannot. Health sectors cannot do that to us. Use people that are drug addicts on the street and then compare them with us and then not give us what we want, because there are people, with or without you, you cannot control it with sickle cell patients. Control it with people that don't have health issues out there. Don't try to control it with us that need it. You know, so that's the mistake they're doing. If I get addicted, you don't have sickle cell, I have sickle cell. What's your business? I graduate to another level of painkillers. It's not your problem.
Yes.
It is mine to do. I have challenge already. Why are you increasing to what I have already? Because this is a drug I'm entitled to have. You are not supposed to control me as an adult now.
Yes.
You know, that cannot make me an addict because you gave me 1 or 2 doses just because I come to you. Then automatically I become an addict. It doesn't work that way. So really, there should be reorientation and some sense should be put into.
You talked about going into rural areas and doing the tests for them there.
Yes.
How quickly does the result come
sometimes
out?
it takes a day. Sometimes when we do the outreaches, we don't just visit patients and abandon them because we've been there one day and then the next day we're off and we don't. No. There's always a revisit.
Okay.
You know. So during that, when we take blood samples, because genotype is not an easy, we don't have the instant, like the malaria and typhoid test is very expensive.
Okay.
You know, so we take the blood samples away. But because, of course, we intend to be returning to that community, the next day we are back to the community to reorientate them. To counsel them and tell them that this is what you have. If you have a girlfriend, you have to do this and do that. But of course, for the patients, anybody that has sickle cell, the parents know, they just don't want to accept it sometimes.
Okay.
So already you know that we don't even run tests for them. You see them, you know. Yeah, because of course, some are very obvious, because of lack of nutrition, lack of
Proper care.
Proper care, exactly. Yeah. So you see them, but just to be sure, some of them you rerun the test so that you don't just jump into conclusion. But there's so many you see in crisis already, sitting down there. Yeah. So you rush them. Some you have to take them to the hospital immediately if they don't have clinics.
Hans said something about the need to run your test over and over again, and that brought something to mind. I was thinking about a friend that I said had to break up a relationship.
Yes.
Because she was so sure she was AA. She was very, very sure until the sister of the guy in question that she was supposed to marry said, just go do a test. I know, so just do the test so we don't get into any... And to everybody's surprise, the test turned out to be that she was AS. So how do you manage a situation like that? If we have situations where it is possible for you to actually do your test and it could be that you are being told you are SS when you are not. And sometimes getting the wrong information is psychological, Yeah. The fact, if you tell someone you are HIV positive, they start manifesting some traits, even when they're not. Because the mind is working towards that. So if you tell someone you have this condition and you don't have it, or you don't have this condition and yet you have it, you can never get the proper care that you need. So what are you people doing? Is this something that's within, your foundation activities to make sure you enlighten people to say, look, don't just take it for granted that you've done a test and you know your genotype. Run it over and over again.
We always tell them to repeat it. Always tell them.
Is there a recommended time?
Always tell them.
How
Sometimes
many
in text messages and all that.
3 times. You can run it
3 times. 3 times should be fine.
Maybe we should go and do ours again, Nikki.
She could do hers again.
When you said 3 times, 3 times in what time span?
Different.
No,
like
different
for me,
labs.
before my wedding,
labs.
when I met my husband and we were friends at first, he said he was AS. I told him from the first day we met that I was SS. I've had relationships where I told him that I'm like, I have no intention of marrying an SS person. I've had that. But I told my husband from the beginning that I'm SS, and he was like, no problem, but I'm AS. And I was like, then I guess it can't work. That's what I told him. And I was like, but anyway, we're friends. Maybe you marry one of my friends. Yeah. That's what I told him. So he said, but he still likes me. I was like, we're just friends. So let's see how it goes. We went to the hospital. I said to him, if you're serious that you really like me, why don't you go and run another test? He went, and it came out AA.
Wow.
I was like, I'm not accepting that. Let's go to another place.
You said that?
Yes.
Yeah, you had to
we went
be
to
sure.
3 places. We went to 3 places, and it was AA. That was when we were like, okay, let's start.
Let's start.
Yes.
So
Oh,
we're
wow.
always-
Because-
Because it would be really risky if you're AS and SS, you know.
With what
We're
I'm
talking
going
about
through,
AS
No,
and AS is not
that
good.
is just the
Yeah.
It's just a no-no.
No,
It's
but I
just
have
a no-no.
friends that are AA, AS, and SS that got
But you
married.
can do the
It's not
gene.
advisable.
Yes.
Not at all.
Or they give it
But-
to love until the baby comes and you see what the child
she
is going
went
through.
in
There's
with
no love.
wisdom. She
Okay.
went in with wisdom. She took the prenatal testing.
Okay.
She did that,
Okay.
and thankfully, her first child was AS.
Okay.
And she went out. But you have to know that
That's
test
all.
is quite expensive.
Everything
If you have the
surrounding
money.
us is
When you say
You can do
prenatal, that
that.
means she was already pregnant and
Yes,
then
she
took the
was
test.
already pregnant.
But I understand there's some procedures that even before before you get pregnant, like gene
That's
No,
selection.
that's the gene
selection.
selection.
Gene
That's then you
selection.
do the
You can do
IVF.
that.
Okay.
Before, and then the pregnancy occurs.
Okay.
Which is
now
what you
it
say.
happens outside. You take the A gene and the A gene, do it,
Fertilize
then
it.
now
Have
put
a
it back
normal IVF
like
process.
the normal IVF
Okay.
process.
But all of
Then
these
for
are
the
expensive.
amniocentesis,
Expensive.
And
Yeah,
is that
expensive.
available in Nigeria?
It should be.
it should be here in Abuja.
We
A
do
doctor does
IVF,
it here
so
in Abuja.
Yes, it's
possible.
available in
Of course,
Abuja.
you pay through your nose, but then
Hey.
if you're ready.
Okay.
And then some actually get pregnant first, do the amniocentesis, and then abort it, and then
God.
keep
Yeah,
doing it.
that's
over
what I
and
was trying
over
to-
again.
So, but how often do you want to be
Avoid.
aborting a baby?
How
I
strong
know
are you
a woman that has
emotionally
done it
and
like 3
financially
times,
for that?
and you see that's what we're trying to avoid. Don't even go
Don't
into
even
it.
go there.
Yeah.
Yes,
Don't.
yes.
Just, it's best you avoid it.
Because you see some people who go into it and then they start beclouding their minds and saying, faith would handle this for me, faith will handle this for me.
Yeah.
And then you give birth to your first child and he or
And
she
then
is
the biology
SS.
didn't actually teach us well. Biology just said 1 out of
So
4. You know that equation? And
It's
no,
wrong. It's 25%
it is-
chances
yes,
for each child.
for
it's
each
wrong
child.
for you to tell people that really don't understand it. You know, even for everybody that is knowledgeable, this is not it. For every pregnancy is a fresh chance. Do you understand? It's better you tell them that each pregnancy comes with a fresh chance. It's like having a boy or a girl child.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
I can have, a lady can have 3 SS at a stretch.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, you can have all the 3 AS. But you have to be cautious with each pregnancy. There's a fresh chance of either having the AA, the AS, or the SS. It comes like that. Don't say because, yes, 1, I've given back to 1 now, and she's not like that. My mother had 1 out of 3. 1 out of 3. So not everyone works like that. One can have all 3. One can have 1 out of 2. You can have 2 out of 3. It all depends.
My
Yes,
TV
it's true.
repair guy, and I mean a TV repair guy, so you know his income level, had 4 SS children.
Oh my God.
4.
I know.
And he lost 2.
I know a man that has 7 from both wives.
Oh my word.
Went to a community and he brought 7. And at that time, I was like, look, I don't know where to start from. I don't know where to help you, really, because it was just a pathetic case. How did you have 7? Yes, he has 2 wives. Like, okay, where do we start from with this one?
How do we
Wow.
support your foundations? How do you get support for your foundations? Do you start writing to individuals, well-meaning individuals, wealthy individuals, philanthropists? How do you fund going out into the rural areas to do what you do? Because you need money.
You just said it all.
Yeah.
You're right. Keep
Right.
writing. Individuals.
And
Corporate
organizations.
bodies.
Organizations, corporate
Anybody.
bodies.
That's all. It's open to all. Anybody can help. So we just keep writing and writing and writing until somebody answers us. Okay, I want to support this community, my community. We encourage them to support their own community.
Okay.
Yes. And that has actually helped in a way.
Okay.
You know, if you are a philanthropist and you have a community and support your people. We cannot take one fund from Kano State and go and work in Kaduna or somewhere. So, but if we have a random support coming in, we can do it anywhere we choose to. But then, that's how it is. It's very difficult. I'm not saying it's easy or we actually get the support. If we get support, we have been doing these outreaches every week or even every day. But because the support is not forthcoming, maybe once a month, anytime we get, we do it.
Are you able to reach out to parents? Do they listen to you because you're a warrior yourself?
Yes.
Is it easier for them
I
to
think
relate
so.
with you?
It's very easy.
Because
Like,
you know exactly
it's
what
easier.
Yes.
for
they're
Strong
going
Cell,
through.
we just
Yeah.
had a
It's
program.
easier.
When was that? On
We
the
had the
26th.
program on the 26th.
You know,
Okay.
we're just
This
coming.
Wednesday.
We're just new.
Okay.
Strong Cell. We just unveiled Strong Cell on the 26th.
Okay.
And what caught our attention were the caregivers, the parents. There were so many. They sat down. They paid attention. Why? Because we were both SS. So you get the attention because you're one. And for Strong Cell, like the support thing you said, what our vision is to see how we can actually, come together with the other NGOs under Sickle Cell, under one umbrella, so we can have a stronger voice, that we can push for policies on Sickle Cell. We're looking at that. So government can really come in and look into Sickle Cell, because Sickle Cell is, no matter how we want to see it, it's ravaging our country. We have the highest number in Nigeria as it stands right now.
The thing is,
It cuts across.
one out of 4 Nigerians now is either AS, a carrier, or a sickle cell patient.
Okay.
We are 3 already, and we have a population of, I don't know how many in this room.
Yeah.
And these 3 has covered whatever percentage that is. So if you have 1 out of 4, 25% of the population are affected. And so this is a time bomb. I tell you, if we run a test of 10 and 20, this is reality check. It's not something that we're assuming. We have done this several times. You run a test, 50 people, you find out you have 1 out of that 4. If it's 10 people, you will see that you have 3 already in that 10, 2 or 3 in that 10.
Robin,
It's reality check.
I have read about possible cure. I'm putting that in parentheses. In form of, is this stem cell and then
Bone
marrow transplant? How feasible is that? I know it is very, very expensive.
Yeah.
But how feasible is it?
Well, like we've been saying, if the government can come in and help, it's very feasible. I think we have a patron that told us about his son here in Nigeria. We know him very well.
Okay.
He was SS, and he had the stem cell transplant, and he's doing fantastically well. He's married, children, no crisis, nothing. He has his own NGO somewhere. Good.
So it can be reversed.
Yeah, it's very, but the
Yes.
only challenge is the
finance
cost implication.
Okay.
It's too expensive. The low class people, we can't afford it. Our parents can't.
Beyond the cost, when I spoke to, I had a doctor, I just mentioned the Jefta Hiomohai Sickle Cell Foundation event that I attended. The doctor, who happens to be an expert, actually, in sickle cell management, did say it is also a 50-50 chance.
I was
It is
going to get to
possible
that.
the way
Yeah.
you do a kidney transplant and there's
Yes,
rejection
yes,
eventually.
yes,
You
yes.
could
I was
gonna
accept,
get
the body
into
could
that.
accept,
Yes,
and then
yes,
it
reject
also
it.
happens.
You see, our NGO
Yes.
don't even advocate.
Yes.
We don't
We don't
advocate for
advocate.
stem and bone marrow. That's the truth of the matter. I'm not trying to be negative here,
Okay.
but we don't even advocate for something that is not 100% success.
Okay.
Do you understand? I can't encourage people to go and kill themselves and look for money, and then come and, just like you mentioned, it can actually reject. That bone marrow was not originally designed for you. Yours is already there, it's genetic. And you take another bone marrow and now you now fix it and you expect to. It's not. I've had doctors that even discourage people not to even go into that. And do you know the stress? The patients go to chemo, they do so many things. A governor wanted to sponsor me. I told him no. I actually rejected it. I'm not going to do that. I still have a warrior sister who is like 18, and I'm like, maybe for her, but for me, I'm not going through that stress, and not at this stage in my life again.
It involves you
so
getting
there's
a
so
donor,
many things
am I right?
attached
Yeah. Yes,
to
yes,
that.
you need a donor.
You know, the recovery what you have to swallow, the drugs, the time in the hospital, your hair falls off. Just like a cancer patient, you are now reborn. It's like a reborn for you and all that. People are living with diabetes. People are living with high BP.
HIV,
so many
cancer.
things. Why am I looking for something that is not even 100%? I want to manage this. And by the grace of God, I'm doing it properly. And since I'm living a relatively normal life, I don't want people to look at sickle cell, I have to get a cure. No, you don't have to, especially if you cannot afford to. First thing with sickle cell is management. And I tell you, if you manage properly, you live a relatively normal life. Yes.
And then, to add to what she said, how many people do you want to do this bone marrow transplant for? How many people would the government or well-meaning individuals that would want to donate do for?
Something
Because
that they cannot give 1 naira for folic acid. They will give 1
is it millions you want to come and drop money for?
I will give you 10
a large
million
percentage of SS.
for that at all.
We are
That's a good
advocating
point.
for management, affordable, sustainable
Prevention.
policies
And
of
most
management.
importantly, prevention.
Yes,
moving
prevention.
forward.
That's
and
what we're
management.
advocating
Because
for,
it's
and
actually
management.
possible for us to get to a point where we do not have
Yes.
sickle cell carriers or
A rebirth,
sufferers.
yes, of them.
Exactly. It's possible
rebirth, yes.
if we do the right thing starting now.
Starting now, there's going to be a very thin line between rebirth of, there's people who
extreme.
stop giving birth to bringing forth children with sickle cell.
Okay, we're almost out of time, so I'm just going to leave it to Hawa to maybe summarize for people that are watching conversations and are just tuning in, just some bits of advice that they might want to go home with before we round up.
Okay. What I would advise people, both the SS people and then those that are not, first of all, know your genotype. Please, everyone should know their genotype. And apart from knowing your genotype, make informed decisions and wise, intelligent decisions. Don't base your decisions and love on emotions. Please, it could affect someone else's life, an innocent person, that is your child. And then for the society at large, friends, family, we have to work on stigmatization in the workplace, society. I mean, I went to H-Medics the other place and then I was talking to somebody and then the lady said, you are married. Your husband try. Oh.
Wow.
Imagine telling me that. I was like, okay. Which means that if she's my husband's sister, she would have said no. Yes. So those kind of things are not ideal. It really affects the mental health of sickle cell patients. And then apart from that, the management, please would ask you to donate to recognized and, what's the word? Serious
Credible.
NGOs that are really
Credible.
tackling, advocating for sickle cell patients. We really, really strongly believe that we can all work together to go a long way to curb this, stem it from the beginning, and also do something. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Hawa, Ando, Rabi, and Rita. We've been talking about sickle cell disorder in Nigeria. Our social media handles are available on the screen. We would love to hear comments and questions, any observations about today's program from you. It's been Nike here on Conversations. On behalf of everyone, thank you for joining us. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.